A new ABC Ipsos poll finds more than half of American adults, meanwhile, say that the U.S. does have the responsibility to protect Israeli civilians. 54% disapprove of President Biden's handling of this Israel-Hamas war. 41% say that they approve. Joining me right now is Florida Senator Rick Scott, a member of the Senate Homeland Security and Armed Services Committees. Senator, thanks very much for being here this morning. What can you tell us about this war?
Well, I've traveled to Israel quite a bit. I was in Kfar Aza, which is where all those babies were mutilated. So I think as we go through this, let's don't forget what happened here. Over 1,000 Israelis were killed, including, I think it's now 30 Americans. We've got American hostages, Israeli hostages. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Iran needs to be held accountable. Hamas needs to be completely obliterated. Anybody that wants to help Palestinians should open their border and accept these Palestinians. But this is going to be a very, very tough time. We've got to do everything we can to get hostages out, and we've got to do everything we can to help Israel defeat Hamas, and we got to make sure Iran gets held accountable. It's real simple. Qatar, they need to do something with regard to the Hamas leader in their country. This is a crisis that America's got to show up. Biden administration has been asleep at the wheel, doing the wrong thing, and we all have to understand this is dangerous. Our border's open. The same thing could happen here. Let's get active. Let's figure this out.
Well, I mean, Ted Cruz, your colleague from Texas, said that the risk of a terrorist attack in America is the highest it's been since the 2001 terrorist attacks, 9/11. Your thoughts? Absolutely.
I mean, we have a completely open border. We know there's people on the terrorist watch list that have come across we've caught. How many haven't we caught? And by the way, these people that are supporting Hamas, baby killers in this country, right? I mean, that is wrong. It's against the law to provide financial support to Hamas. I hope anybody that supports Hamas is held accountable. But you're right. I mean, we have got to understand, we have got an open border. We have a significant risk of a terror attack right here in our country.
Yeah. Well, President Biden is talking about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza as his priority. He writes this on X: "We must not lose sight of the fact that the overwhelming majority of Palestinians had nothing to do with Hamas's appalling attacks and are suffering as a result of them." This ABC Ipsos poll finds 54% of adults say that the U.S. does not bear responsibility in protecting Palestinian civilians, Senator. I haven't heard what he said about Israeli citizens, but of course, they're, hoping and praying for their lives after this attack from Hamas. But he's talking about the humanitarian crisis among Palestinians, Senator.
How about the over 1,000 people killed in Israel? How about the 30 Americans? How about the people held hostages? That's what we ought to be focused on. Look, anybody that dies in Gaza is a responsibility of Hamas. Hamas caused this. They're the ones who attacked the citizens in Israel. They're the ones that are using civilians as a shield. They're the ones that are preventing civilians from getting to the border with Egypt. Egypt is the one that's preventing them from crossing the border. Hamas is responsible for whatever happens in Gaza, not what Israel has to do. I mean, they don't have a choice. They have to go in and completely annihilate Hamas, no different than we had to annihilate ISIS if we want to make sure we don't have another terrorist attack.
I know that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is having a hearing on former Treasury Secretary Jack Lew. He's going to become the ambassador to Israel if Biden gets his way. Your thoughts?
I'll do everything I can to prevent him from being the ambassador. Here's a guy that has supported the Iran deal. There's no way he should be in there. He's an appeaser. He's no different than what Biden's been doing. They have a great charge d'affaires right now. Heather's doing a great job there. We do not need Jack Lew to go in and be a pacifist and support Iran. So I'll do everything I can to slow that down and hopefully prevent it.
Well, the Republicans are also introducing a bill to block the Palestinian refugees from entering the United States. Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany leading that charge, writing on X, quote, "We can't let President Biden abuse our parole and visa rules to bring unvetted Palestinians into American communities, the way he did with thousands of unvetted Afghans." Senator, we've got a graphic here of all of these special interest aliens that have come through the southern border. Some of them have been on terrorist watch lists. We don't know because we've got a wide open border right now.
And by the way, you realize the terrorist watch list is not a perfect watch list. We don't have information from Russia and China and North Korea, places like that, Iran, Afghanistan, Syria. So let's wake up. We have a risk here in this country. Why would we allow a greater risk? We watched what happened after Afghanistan. Those individuals were not vetted. They're all over our country. We have no idea who they are. We gave them American IDs, all right, and they're living here. What risk do we already have? Why would we bring in thousands of Gazans? They should stay where they are. The people they care about and want to support the Palestinians, why don't they go out and do this? America has got to take care of America. And by the way, these individuals are trained to be anti-Israel and anti-Jews. We love our Jewish population. We want to support Israel.
Yeah. Senator, is there a priority in the Senate to send aid to Israel right now? I mean, the speaker fight is overspending. What are you all going to do about the weapons and support that Israel needs?
We will do. I think there's unbelievable support to help Israel right now. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it's not tied to Ukraine aid or anything else.
Senator, thank you. We'll keep watching your work. Rick Scott joining us in New York this morning. We'll be right back.